Well, hello everybody. Cliff Ravenscraft here. Welcome to today's live stream. The focus of our live stream today is AMA. It's Ask Me Anything, and I'm super delighted to have you here. I saw that there was an entire group of people in the waiting room eager to get started in here, and I just want to let you know that you can go ahead and begin to join the chat on YouTube. Just go ahead and begin to add in any questions you have for me related to anything you might think to ask during our 90 minutes together today. Now, as I'm waiting for some of your questions to roll into the chat, and throughout the chat, I have 10 different slides that I put together hastily right before I went live today. The reason for that is because I just recently got off a one-on-one coaching call with one of my clients, but I pulled out some affirmations, some things that I have intentionally decided these are the things that I believe, and this is how I operate my life. So by the way, I do see that some folks are starting to put some chat into the chat. So go ahead and begin to post your questions, your comments as we go along. You can ask me anything related to anything you might think I might know the answer to, and we'll just go from there. Now, today I want to talk to you and start off by talking about dominating thoughts. I've been speaking about this in the Audio Journal podcast lately. I believe I even did an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft show about this. I've been reading the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and have gotten a ton of value out of it as I've been going through this deep dive on my fourth time through the book. And what he says is that the dominating thoughts of our life are what determine what gets accepted into our subconscious mind. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but our subconscious mind is basically what causes us to do the things that we do without even thinking about doing them. Eventually, things become habit and routine, and I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you're driving home from somewhere, and it's someplace that you maybe it's from work, and you drive home from work, and by the time you get home, you're like, I don't even recall consciously making any decisions, turning anywhere. All I know is I was at work. It's now 45 minutes later. I'm now home, but I don't my mind was elsewhere. Has this ever happened to you? And the reason that happens is because your subconscious mind has got a routine pattern that has been ingrained in your brain, and it knows exactly what to do, and you don't have to consciously think about things. It just automatically happens. I remember when I was 16 years old and I first started driving a car, and I remember just how difficult it was, how challenging it was to pay attention to everything. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I'm checking my rearview mirror, and I need to make sure I'm checking both of my side mirrors, and do I have anything in my blind spots, and oh my gosh, there's a car over here on this road, and there's a car over here, and not to mention I have to actually think, oh, where is it that I'm supposed to go? How do I get there? I should probably not turn the radio on. I was kind of freaked out when I first started driving. There was just so much, and it seemed a little overwhelming at the time. That first time when I had my driver's license and I didn't have anybody else in the car with me, it just seems like there was just so much to it. Now, here I am today. I get in a car, and like I said, there are times where I'll drive somewhere and I don't even realize how I got there. It's just natural. It's just second nature. Same thing when I remember riding a bike when I was a kid. The very first time, to this day, I remember as a child, the very first time that I was being taught to ride a bike without training wheels. And I remember those wheels coming off, and I remember the number of times where it's like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? The steering wheel. And I remember falling down a handful of times. But then all of a sudden, I actually got to the place where I realized how much but overall, eventually it got to the place where my subconscious mind was able to take over and take control. So much so that I have a road bike today, just a standard cycling bike that you see cyclists who are riding on the side of the road. I have a road bike today. And if I want to, I can literally sit straight upright, no handles on the handlebar, and I could sit there, be pedaling and gaining continued momentum moving forward, or even pick up pace, or I can coast. It's completely fine. And without my hands on the handlebars of the bike, my subconscious mind is already doing all of the calculations based upon the minutest off balance or off course or off axis. It instantly works as this auto gyro system that keeps me upright, and I'm able to do that without thinking. I could actually be reciting a poem, I could recite a shopping list from memory, I could be doing all kinds of other things cognitively with my conscious mind, and I will not have to give a single conscious thought to keeping my bike upright, even with my hands off the handlebars. No hands. How am I able to do that? Because my subconscious mind has learned how things work. And that's exactly what our subconscious mind is designed to do. So the question is, if our subconscious mind helps us in taking the smallest, most minute, or even the biggest actions that we take in our life, the behavior, the way that we are caused to react to certain nerve impulses, if it actually our subconscious mind offers up based upon external stimuli, creates all sorts of chemistry responses that cause us to feel specific emotions. All of a sudden, an adrenaline rush, or all of a sudden, a rapid heartbeat, or shortness of breath, and all of these different things. Our subconscious mind helps us determine. It actually causes us to feel certain things within our body, to create emotions within us. And all of the things that our subconscious mind does, it does exactly what we have instructed it to do. Our subconscious mind is a slave to us. It actually has to do the things that we tell it to do. It's like a computer, if you will. And it has a basic operating system that simply says, whatever code the owner of this system puts in, you must carry out that action. You must work to make this happen. And that's every fiber, every cell in your body, but it's also all of the chemical things that make up all of the emotions and the things that we bring up from our memory and recall. And it's just an amazing thing. So the important thing to understand here is that it's essential to be intentional about what instructions you're giving your subconscious mind. And I want to talk to you real quickly about something called auto-suggestion. Auto-suggestion is simply something that you suggest to yourself. Like, oh man, I just can't catch a break. It seems like no matter how hard I try, I always fail. Now, have you ever said that to yourself? Well, that is an auto-suggestion. And an auto-suggestion is something that you say, and if you that's a thought, and if you attach emotion to it, and it makes you feel a certain way, and you feel some sort of certainty about what you've just stated as a suggestion to yourself is real, then it immediately becomes a part of your programming code. And you will start to live your life, and your subconscious mind will cause you to take actions and feel and think and do things that are in alignment with your stated understanding that life is always happening against you. There's just no way you're going to catch a break. Everything seems to always go wrong for you. And your subconscious mind will never cause you to do anything that's outside of that belief system. All right? By the way, this works when somebody suggests things to you. As a child, did somebody ever that you trust, somebody that you love, ever say something that was mean and nasty and very damaging to your soul? Maybe it was a teacher who says, you know what, you'll never be a good student. You'll never be able to get passing grades. You'll never be able to make it in life. You're never going to be able to get a good job because you're of this. Maybe a parent said something to you. Maybe they didn't even realize that they said it, but they said something in the way that you heard it, in the way that you took it, the emotion that you attached. You're not worth anything. Now, the thing is that may be something that somebody said to you. And so therefore, whether they meant it as a suggestion, it actually is a suggested thought. It's a thought that has just been put forth from their mind to yours, and that suggestion is now, that thought is just hanging there as a suggestion that you take. However, you don't have to take that thought. You can reject that thought. But what happens is you can actually say, you know what, this thought, I believe that to be true. Yeah, I'm not worth anything. And if you all of a sudden take somebody that says to you, you're not worth anything, you'll never amount to much, and you feel that emotionally and you believe that what they're saying is true, then all of a sudden that becomes a part of your subconscious programming. And of course, it then leads to several of the things that you experience in life. So it's important to be very conscious about the things that we take in as suggestions. And by the way, when somebody says something to you as a suggestion, all suggestions, if accepted, become auto-suggestion, because what you've done is you've just consciously heard it, you've experienced it, now you're contemplating it, and if you attach meaning to it, if you attach and say, I believe this, I accept this, this is real, and especially if there's emotion, then what happens is now you have actually translated that into a language your subconscious mind can accept, which is an auto-suggestion. You take what they suggested to you, you accept it, and your subconscious mind hears it as if instead of them saying you are worthless, it's as though your subconscious mind is hearing you say, I am worth this. So I don't know if you've ever had that. Has anybody ever said anything mean and nasty to you? And at the same time, it's, yep, they're right. And what happens is that's automatically happening whether you're aware of it or not. Now, for some reason, right as I go live here, I'm getting family group chat. So I am going to have to put my phone into do not disturb, because chances are the family group chat is going to blow up right after that. Okay, so with that being said, I'm now going to start with subconscious mind controls our actions, our emotions, all of these things. All of that is based upon the programming that we've allowed in. A lot of it is unintentional. We didn't consciously choose it, but we just accepted it. A lot of it was brought in from our childhood. We are in our life today is made up of our experiences since we've been on this planet. We've been accepting programming code for our life. We've been conditioned in our life since the time we first arrived here, and we are continually conditioned and programmed. The thing is we can begin to take some control over that. You can take out some programming code that has not been serving you well, such as limiting beliefs that are holding you back from going after your dreams. All of that. I just wanted to start that while you guys had an opportunity to join in here and start asking questions in the chat. So now, by the way, we don't have to stay on this topic. We can go anywhere you want. So I want to encourage you, any question you possibly have, I'm going to be here for 90 minutes total today. We still have 1 hour and 17 minutes left together. So there's plenty of time for your questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just start interacting and engaging with those of you who are here live. So Sean Park says, hi, Cliff. Hello. Lewis B says hello. So hi there, Lewis B. Lake says, this is much better, so I can comment via the Facebook app. So thanks. Awesome. I didn't know that you could actually do this via the Facebook app. So I'm not sure what that's referring to, but we're here on YouTube doing this, and I imagine that's how you put your comment in there. Anyway, Sean says, how has COVID-19 affected your business and income? COVID-19 has not had any negative impact on my business at all. So I made some changes to my business back in October 2019. I decided that I was going to only focus on 2 different groups of the Next Level Mastermind and 3 to 5 one-on-one coaching clients. And I was going to go at the deepest level with each of my clients, serving them beyond their wildest imagination. And as a result of that being my primary focus, obviously those are all virtual meetings anyway. I've been using Zoom before Zoom was cool. And my one-on-one coaching calls have always been virtually via Zoom. So no changes there. Now, I will tell you that there were 2 people who reached out to me who were really concerned about their own economic impact of COVID-19, and they suggested that, hey, I know you would like a 30-day notice if anything happens and I need to drop out, Normally, I would never even dream of it, but I just want you to know I'm facing some challenges. And I said, why don't we get on a one-on-one call and talk about the challenges that you're having? And I did that for each of those two individuals above and beyond the normal coaching and mentoring that I do for them. And by the end of that call, they said, hey, that email that I sent you earlier, dude, I ain't going anywhere. This is exactly why I'm in this mastermind group. And so I have both of those people. That was months ago, back in March. And they're still in the mastermind group today, and they're crushing it. They're moving forward. They have momentum. That's not to say that they don't have struggles and they don't have obstacles. They do, but they've got a plan of action. They're moving forward. They're making progress towards their dreams and goals. So I had two people that I thought could have possibly left, but they ended up sticking around, and I've only added clients since then. And actually, my rates more than doubled from last year to this year, and so things are really good. The cool thing is that more people are in the need of coaching and getting some thoughts and ideas on outside of the box on how to transform their life or to make transitions into new work. So there's lots more opportunity for the type of work that I do today, now more than ever. So how has it affected my business and my income? My income is higher today than it was in this time last year. And I've got more clients than I haven't lost any clients, and I've only gained clients. It's the steadiest my business has ever been, and I can tell you right now, it's a result of absolutely having clarity. After 12 years, finally having absolute crystal clear clarity about exactly why I'm on this earth and the work that I'm called to do, and finally getting over those limiting beliefs that were holding me back from doing it at the level that I'm doing it today. So thank you for that question, Sean. I appreciate it. Charles says, tell us about your Volkswagen model cars there. Well, I've talked about these a number of times. I would encourage you, Charles, to check out the Free the Dream opening keynote doesn't have that, does it? So basically, what happened here, and I'll just briefly tell this story. My friend Chris Nelson, he came to one of my Next Level workshops, and he also paid extra money to spend an extra day here in the Next Level studio, one-on-one. Now, that extra day was $7,500 of one-on-one coaching with me. And we went out to lunch, and I told him, hey, it's a good thing Stephanie didn't have to go anywhere. Otherwise, we would have had to take an Uber to lunch. And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't have a car. I gave my car to my son, and he goes to drives his sisters to school every day. And Stephanie has this car most of the time. And I work from home. So the only thing I need to do is go to the gym, and either Stephanie and I go together, or I go early in the morning before Stephanie wakes up, and so I have the car. So it's very rare that I ever need a car, and I'm not a car guy. He goes, you're not a car guy? And I said, no, I'm not a car guy. And he says, don't you have a dream car? And I'm like, nah, I don't have it. And then I'm like, wait a second. Yes, I do have a dream car. And I told him about my love of classic Beetles. I said, if I could have any car that I want, I'd probably want an early 70s, even like a 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. And I told him exactly the kind of condition. He goes, have you ever looked to see how much those are? And I said, yeah, I stop and see them on the side of the road all the time. In the condition that I would want, the worst condition I would accept would be right around $7,000. And probably the best condition that probably would be one that I'd be interested in would be around $10,000. Well, anyway, he sent me... he went back home and he sent me a package, and in the package was a card that says, Cliff, thank you so much for helping me make so much progress towards my dream, which, by the way, today he's full-time self-employed. He was not back then. And he said, thank you so much. He goes, for helping me with my dream. I want to help you get one step closer to your dream. And then I opened up the package, and it was this little car. And then that car sat there for a few days, and I was playing around with it, and because it was a focus of mine so much, I began to ask myself, well, what would it be like if I did have it? I just started asking that question. And then I started to say, I would really like to have one of these. And then that got me to start asking the question, well, I wonder if there are any within 50 miles. And then I start doing a search on Facebook Marketplace. And within just a few weeks of this car sitting on my desk as a gift, I actually have my own 1974 Volkswagen Beetle sitting in my garage right now, and I've had it ever since. So, Charles, that's the story behind that car, and this is because, well, eventually one day I'm going to get myself a nice Volkswagen microbus. All right, Lake says, I want to know more about the bone conducting headphones, or how bone conducting Phones work, please. Okay, so just do a Amazon search for bone conducting headphones, and you'll see that there are a lot of them out there. I have a pair that's made by Aphex. And what happens is you put they go around your ear, and what they do is right here, there's a little pad that just basically rests right here on this bone there and this bone right here. So it's not in your ears. There's no speakers going into your ears. It's just these little pads that sit right here. And those pads vibrate just like a speaker would vibrate. And the vibration of those little pads actually make the sound travel through your bone into your inner ear. And that's how bone conducting headphones works. So it's not as absolute crystal clear as having headphones in, but it's just, it's perfect for spoken word, and it's suitable for music, so it works. The cool thing is with bone conducting headphones, you can go outside, walk a dog, you can go out and ride your bike. You could actually be wearing bone conducting headphones while you're driving a car, even if you wanted to. I would not recommend doing any of those activities with regular headphones in your ears, which is blocking outside sound, because you might have a car or a kid on a bike come up right behind you, and then all of a sudden they either almost hit you, they do hit you, they scare the crud out of you, and it's certainly not safe to be able to drive with earbuds in your ears while you're driving a car or riding a bike on the side of the road, although I may or may not have done that a few times. But I don't need to now because I have bone conducting headphones. All right, so let's see here. Your Creativity says, hey, Cliff, hello, Your Creativity, welcome. Lake says, can you please share with us some of your recent failures besides Free the Dream Conference not getting 300 people? Oh, I fail at all kinds of stuff. So, failures. Wow. I haven't had any big failures this year. Free the Dream Conference financially was not hitting my goals, but I learned lots of things from them, so it was extremely powerful. I've talked so much about that so many places. I'm trying to think of another failure that I've had. Recent failures. A recent failure. So a recent failure was back after Free the Dream 2018. I had entered into a mindset of scarcity. And at the time, I was really struggling with, like, oh my gosh, every time somebody leaves the Next Level Mastermind. See, the people were in the Next Level Mastermind, they were in it for a year, and their 1-year commitment was up. And I'm thinking, it's like, man, somebody's having so much powerful experience in the Next Level Mastermind, nobody's ever really going to want to leave, right? That was the mindset that I had going into it. But then all of a sudden, some of the people, I was like, listen, Cliff, I would have never been able to do half the things that I've done as a result of being in your group. Some people had tripled their income. And let me tell you, the $12,000 they paid for the year in the Next Level Mastermind is a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of income that they additionally made as a result of their insights and inspiration from being in the group for the year. So I'm thinking, there are people in the Next Level Mastermind that have been in the Mastermind since November 2018 when I started it. So there are plenty of people who just stay in, but there were people who would leave even though they've had powerful experiences. And all of a sudden, every time that would happen, my income would drop by $1,000 a month. And at the time, I was working on Free the Dream, and my energy and effort was split between two major projects, and one that was outside of my zone of excellence, and certainly even outside of my zone of genius, which was marketing an event. I was barely in my zone of competence, and I would tell you that in big league terms, by Gay Hendricks, I was in my zone of incompetence when it comes to marketing an event. So I was experiencing some pretty difficult financial challenges right after Free the Dream 2018. I was coming off the high of what experience happened there, but man, financially it was tough. But then to lose a Next Level Mastermind member, seeing my income drop instantly $12,000 a year every time one of those people dropped, it's like, this is tough. And so I'm like, man, maybe I should just start a group that's $250 a month. And just meet twice a month instead of weekly, and that way, it was a big, huge failure. By the way, I had it not that it was just a failure in my mindset. It wasn't a failure of a group. I instantly opened that up. 7 people joined it within the first week that I launched it, and they were all super delighted with the group, except for the fact that it was not anywhere near what I wanted that experience to be. There was something about meeting every week instead of twice a month. Given the fact that we met on the first and third, weeks of the month, there were some times where there was a 5th week of the month. So there was sometimes 3 weeks between calls, and this just wasn't what I wanted. Also, I'm only generating $250 a month, so I'm not able to have the same level of service to those people as the people who are paying $1,000 a month. And I want to serve those people. I love those people just as much as I love the other people in the group, and I want to see them succeed just as much. But I realized, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake here. And so one of the failures was just the fact of mindset of launching that group. And so when I got some clarity after Free the Dream 2019, I said, listen, I'm shutting down group 3 of the Next Level Mastermind. So I went to all 7 of those people and I said, listen, we're going to continue to meet twice a month for 90 days. But at the end of this year, this group is going to be shut down. And I gave them an opportunity. Would you like to move over to one of the other groups? But you would have to go at the current price of $1,000 per month if you transitioned over to one of the other groups. And by the way, effective January 1st, the Next Level Mastermind is $2,250 a month. So I went in the opposite direction after learning from that failure. And so today, I do not have 3 groups of the Next Level Mastermind, one of them only meeting twice a month. That group was shut down at the end of 2019. Since then, I have everybody that was previously in the Next Level Mastermind was in at $1,000 a month. And now I already have 3 members in the Next Level Mastermind at $2,250 per month. And I have a few people who are probably going to be joining within the next 30 to 60 days at that new price. So that was another failure. Failures. I'm trying to think. The thing is I fail a whole lot less today than I did a couple years ago. I'm trying to think. The thing is, it's hard for me to think about failures except for right after I have them, because I don't dwell on them. There's this thing in Think and Grow Rich that Napoleon Hill says. He says that it takes no more effort to be success conscious than it does to be failure conscious. See, it takes effort for you to be conscious of your failures and have your dominating thoughts be about the things that you fail, or it takes effort for you to focus your dominating thoughts on where you're succeeding and stuff like that. And I have in my mind so much all of the successes that I have. It's not that I ignore my failures. I see all of my failures for exactly what they are. They're great, wonderful gifts, and I choose to see my failures as educational experiences, even the expensive ones. Sometimes it's worth paying $38,000 in financial loss to learn some incredibly powerful lessons. And then to be able to have the success of bouncing back from that within 3 months, that's pretty cool. All right, so moving on, we got here suggestions on a good road bike. I might get one today. Oh, cool. Well, I recommend that you go to a bike shop, a locally owned bike shop. I would not recommend that you go to a retail store. Don't go to Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart or any of those places. If you're going to get a road bike, I recommend that you go to a road bike store, a cyclist shop, and tell them, and then of course tell them your budget and what you're looking for. I will tell you, when I went, the starting price of a decent road bike, very intro level, was $800 to $900, and I got a bike that's called a Giant Defy. I don't necessarily know if they still make that model today. I know Giant still makes bikes. I don't know if your shop carries Giant, but I have put thousands of miles on my Giant Defy bike, and I love it. All right, Marco says, Cliff, have you ever dealt with a form of perfectionism? And if so, how have you handled that? I'm struggling finding my making progress instead of making perfection. Okay, so have I ever dealt with it in the past? Yes, I have. But then I quit. I gave it up. It was an unhealthy addiction. Perfectionism, first of all, If you wait until something's perfect, you'll never create anything in this world because nothing you create will ever be perfect. That's it. So just think, if you are going to wait until something's perfect for you to move forward, you better be content with your life staying exactly the way it is today. Nothing is perfect. Now, look at me here. I'm like, this morning I decided I'm going to do a live stream at 3:30 p.m. today. Boom, decision. Okay, great. I'm going to have my coaching call between now and then, and I have no plan on what that live stream is going to be. Yes, I know I said it's going to be an AMA, Ask Me Anything, but I also want to make sure that if there are no questions in the chat room, and heaven forbid nobody shows up to my live stream, I want to make sure that for the 3 or 5 people that might be the only people that are there, which I'm looking right now, there are 21 of you here right now. But if there's only 3 to 5 people, I want to do something. I said I'm going to be live for 90 minutes. I'm going to be alive for more than 90 minutes. But I'm going to be live on the internet for 90 minutes. So I've got to make sure that I do something. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to do if nobody shows up? I know, I'll talk about affirmations. Okay, so it just froze on me here for a second. Hopefully I'm still there with you guys. Anyway, so I'll talk about affirmations. I'll talk about auto-suggestion. I'll open up with that. And then if I need to, and there's not enough questions, I can cut to some of my favorite affirmations from my affirmation file. And what I decided to do is like, okay, how am I going to do that? One, I could just write them down or I could circle them. Or if I have enough time, I could create a slideshow. And my idea in my mind is that if I do a slideshow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into photodune.net, which I have an account there, download super high quality images and do text overlay and all of that stuff. But the thing is I made the decision to go about 15 minutes over with my one-on-one coaching client. And then I went upstairs to go do some things that my family wanted me to do. And then I came down here and then I didn't have time to create all those beautiful slides. But that didn't stop me from making slides. And look at these slides. Aren't those gorgeous? Right there. Isn't that right there? Aren't those absolutely stunning looking slides? Don't they just like reek of just absolute professionalism? Obviously, I'm joking. No, they're just ugly, boring, generic slides. But that's okay. They're not perfect. Are they sufficient? Yes. And if I ran out of time and I didn't even have time for that, is it okay? Matter of fact, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I've allowed you guys to see my logo covered up with my Finder window. How could I do that? Oh, I should start this stream all over and ask you guys to sign back in under a new one. Let me fix this. Oh my gosh, world's going to end. That's much better. That's the way. Oh, I can't believe I did that. You know what? Let me just start. No, nothing is perfect. So here's the deal. And not only that, but look at me. Who am I to think that I can come here and just go live and carry energy and communicate for 90 minutes off the top of my head? How can I possibly sit here and speak for 90 minutes without saying every other sentence? How can I do that? Well, it's not, by the way, have I done that for 33 minutes and 7 seconds now? Yes, I have. I've been doing this with seemingly no effort at all. From the outside perspective, some of you might say, man, I look at Cliff's live stream and it's like perfect. It's not perfect. I can guarantee you, I could go through and find all sorts of flaws. Like, for example, why on earth do I still have Podcast Answer Man logos on my mic flag? I mean, come on. It's been how many years since I've shut down Podcast Answer Man and I've been known as the Mindset Answer Man? This isn't perfect, all right? There's all sorts of, my hair's not perfect. Look at this. I'm starting to bald, and if I look down, you might actually start to see some of my butt. That's not perfect. Look at my teeth. Why am I on video? I look. My people are gonna see my teeth. Why do I have the kid? I'm not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. But you might think, well, gosh, Cliff, I look at it seems so eloquent, the way that you talk, the way that you communicate, the way you carry yourself so naturally during the entire stream. You just keep going on and on. I wasn't like this when I started. The only way I've gotten this good, and I'm not perfect, but the only way I've gotten this good is because I got over my perfection and I went out and imperfectly created content. That's what I will tell you. I could go on for a lot more about that, but we'll move on to the next question from Jay. And Jay says, speaking of computers, what do you think about Apple's recent WWDC event and the 2019 iMac Pro? I remember you used to talk about those topics in the podcast Answer Man days. Jay, great question. I loved this year's Apple Worldwide Developer Conference. I totally loved how they created a very, very highly produced event for the keynote, and just enjoyed it thoroughly. I love the iOS 14 additions to the iPhone, the widgets that are coming. I am excited. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I've already been excited about the iPad. The changes coming to the Mac are pretty darn awesome. I love the fact that they're going to go to their own silicone, creating their own CPUs. That just means that they're going to be able to customize everything, all of the coding, all of the software. It's going to be super fast on those chips. I think it's going to radically improve the computing experience. I know for a fact that I will not buy the very first generation of the Apple silicone chip. I want them to learn from that, and then I will get the second wave of computers that come from the Apple silicone chips. I'm sure that my current iMac will last me until then. So there's that. Yeah. My biggest thing, when that day comes, I love the idea that iPad apps and iOS, iPhone apps will be able to natively run on the Mac desktop platform. I'm really excited about that. I'm a multiple monitor person. In fact, there's a monitor over here you can see, there's a monitor over here, there's a monitor right here, there's a monitor right here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's one over here too. There are 6 monitors right in front of me. And 3 of those monitors are 3 separate iPads, an iPad mini, an iPad 11-inch, and an iPad 12.9-inch. So I am all about monitors, lots of different things on different screens all over the place. I love the fact that some of the things that are iOS and iPad apps and all this other stuff, that I could just run them on extra monitors right there on. I could actually have 3 different iPad apps on one, or 4 different iPad apps on one monitor. I'm looking forward. So yeah, I'm super excited. As far as the Mac Pro, the 2019 Mac Pro, I think it's really cool for those who have productions that could benefit from all of that speed and power and stuff like that. It's a real bummer that they're Intel and in a couple years, everything's moving over to the Apple silicon. But the thing is that people who buy that sort of production, they're going to make their money back in the usefulness and the power and the speed of that system, that it's no big deal for them. And that system is still going to be supported. The 2019 Mac Pro will probably still be supported at least for the next 5 years, even when everything has moved over, all their new computers are moved over to the Apple silicon. So I did not buy one of those, have no desire for one. I just don't need that much computing power. All right, Jonathan says, hi, Cliff. Will you be bringing back the Next Level workshop post-COVID for those not interested in building a coaching business? I will not be doing the same workshop that I did previously called Building an Online Business. I will eventually do a coaching business workshop. Will there be other workshops? Likely, very much so. Now, will there be one devoted to success in business and business principles and things like that? Yes, but not the same one that I did before, because that was one where all of a sudden I had come to the place where building an online business, meaning digital marketing, sales funnels, all of that stuff, I got into the place where I started thinking, this is exactly the way that I want to build and grow my business. It seems to be the responsible way. It's the way that Michael Hyatt does it. It's the way that Amy Porterfield does it. It's the way that Stu McLaren does it. It's the way that all my friends do it and are succeeding. It's probably the way that I should do it. And I went down that route. And don't get me wrong. As soon as I began to implement those things that I've been hearing about for years and been dipping my toe in the water, I saw instant success. I mean, gosh, 6 new mastermind members within 30 days. Instantly. It's like, yes, super successful. And so I began to teach all of that. But then I read the book Prosperous Coach by Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler. And I realized I don't want to build a business like Michael Hyatt. I don't want to build a business like Pat Flynn. I don't want to build a business like Amy Porterfield. I want to build a coaching business. I want to build a business where I mean, ultimately, my big time goal right now, I would love to have 10 coaching clients that pay me $100,000 a year. That's and by the way, where I'm required to work no more than 2 to 3 days a week, ever. So that's where I'm moving towards. I don't want to build a business right now. I could change my mind, but I no longer have this dream of building a business that has thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people as clients, as paying clients. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing to say that I won't do some things that are larger scale, but that's not the focus of my business. And currently, it's just not even a desire on my list at all. So I had a major shift in perspective in life and who I am and what I'm created to do. And I just made a very conscious decision. I'm not going wide, trying to reach a large number of people. I'm very much satisfied with reaching a small number of people who are the right people and serving them at the deepest, highest level. All right. Deepest, highest, you get the idea. Will I do some more workshops? Yes. Will I do one where I teach principles that I don't feel called to do myself? No. So since I've abandoned that type of marketing for myself, I'm not going to teach something that I'm not practicing. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. Lake is asking, will you please add this to the audio journal as I have another call to get in? Well, Lake, I will consider that. Let's see here. If not, the replay will be right here on YouTube for you. Let's see here. Larry says, so when will the recliner be swapped for the desk chair? The desk chair. Oh, you put the recliner here. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't think that I'll be able to be up as high as I am now. So Larry's referring to my new recliner chair that I got. I got some new office furniture, doing some reorganization. Larry is obviously an audio journal subscriber, so he's got the inside scoop there. David Caldwell says, if you are no longer the world's #1 authority on podcasting, the go-to guy, who is? Who have you passed the torch on to? Well, I don't know that there actually is any one person these days, but there are a number of people that you can go to. Certainly, you could go check out John Lee Dumas. He's got lots of podcast-related stuff. Pat Flynn has lots of podcast-related stuff. David Jackson has podcast-related stuff. There's lots of resources out there. I mean, there's at least 50, 60, 70, maybe even 100 people who are doing things today at the level I was for the first 10 years of my online business. So, David, there's plenty of people out there. Let's see here. Your creativity. It was an honor to have you on the podcast. Well, thank you. And let's see here. We're going to go to Charles. What is a recent success that you're proud of? Oh, let's see. Recent success. Bunch of them. I'm super excited about the success that I've had in the content creation that I've done lately. Back at the beginning of this year, I made a decision. You know what? I am never again in my life going to record or produce content just for the sake of staying consistent. I don't care how many people unsubscribe from my shows. I don't care how many people get upset. I don't care about any of that. If I don't feel inspired to create content, then I will not create content. And I was so focused on some transitional things going on, shutting down a mastermind group, growing back bringing in some new members into other groups, attaining some new one-on-one coaching clients, and actually recreating my entire approach to adding new business to my business. That was my focus. And so I hardly any content during the first 5 months of this month in the Cliff Ravenscraft show. Hardly any at all. And then out of nowhere, I did some changes here in my office, and it's like this creative oasis. I can't wait to get down here in the morning. It's difficult for me to pull myself away from it at night, and when I'm here, the creative juices are flowing. And so the biggest success for me right now is just this creative flow and energy that I'm in the midst of. I've created more than 30 hours worth of content in the last 10 days. So that's a success that I'm super excited about. Yeah, that's just one. So that's a super excited one. All right, let's see here. Let's move on to John. By the way, I'm coming down to I've got 45 minutes left in this live stream. So I would love to know if you guys got more questions. I've got a couple more comments here. I'm almost to the end. So feel free, please punch in your questions or comments to keep me moving for the next 45 minutes and 8 seconds. All right. I'm going to take a drink of my water before we go to John's thing here. Again, please bring me more questions in the chat. That would be much appreciated. All right, John says, if I remember correctly, you live in one of the major hubs for Amazon distribution. Do you ever feel like your items get items off Amazon quicker than most? Yes and no. Let me explain. So I live in a town called Hebron, Kentucky, and it is a major hub for Amazon. There are the factories are the size, like one Amazon factory is the size of like 3 football fields. I might be exaggerating, I don't know, but they're massive. All right, so they're gigantic. If I had to guess, I think there are 8 or 9 or 10 of those size factories right down the road from my house. Okay? There's so much traffic from these factories that they're actually installing another exit for the expressway because the congestion from all of those people during shift changeovers. So yes, Amazon, absolutely. Now, I will tell you that when I order things on Amazon, most of the time, if it's like before 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm very much, it's like, listen, if you order this now, you're going to get it tomorrow. All right. So I could, it's 4:16. I might be able to go on Amazon right now. And if I order something, there's still the chance that if I order it now, the Amazon system's going to say, if you order this now, you'll get it tomorrow. All right. So yeah, it's kind of nice. I mean, it's literally going, most of the stuff that I order are the type of stuff that's going to be sitting in these warehouses. And because they're popular items that would be probably in many of the different cities locally. And so, yeah, all they have to do is pick it, put it on a box, and then put it on one of the things that go out tomorrow. And of course, they drive it right here. Now, the crazy thing is Cincinnati, Ohio is 8 miles that way, 8 miles behind my camera that I'm looking at. Cincinnati, Ohio is 8 miles that way. It's about a 25 to 30 minute drive if there's no traffic. And if you're an Amazon truck and you get stuck in traffic to go from Hebron to Cincinnati, it could take you at least an hour to get into Cincinnati. However, if you're in Cincinnati and you go in at 11 o'clock in the morning and order something on Amazon, it will be delivered to you that day. Same day delivery in Cincinnati, which is at least a minimum of 20 minutes further out than where I am, and on average an hour more than away from the factory than where I am. But yet I could drive literally 3 miles and pick up the thing, and they won't deliver it to me same day. So there's that. No big deal though. It's all good. I think the fact that I'm able to order stuff and just think of it and it appears at my house with very few clicks of a mouse, that it's just freaking phenomenal. And I love the world that we live in today. I love the technology. I love the convenience that exists and the ability to just do the things that we want and desire to do. Sean says, do you miss being the podcast answer man? The answer to that question is no. I am incredibly thankful for the gift that Podcast Answer Man was in my life for just over a decade. It was absolutely essential in my journey of becoming who I am today. And all of the things that I experienced through it are almost all of them were wonderful, pleasant experiences. There were some downright challenging, difficult, and painful experiences, and I learned from all of those, making me more of who I am today in a powerful way. So, but I got to tell you, after I think it was probably about 7 or 8 years into Podcast Answer Man, I got bored out of saying the same thing over and over again. It was the same. It's like, Cliff, can you help me figure out what this buzzing noise is in my thing? Hey, Cliff, I just published an episode and it's not showing up in the podcast directory. Can you tell me what I did wrong? Hey, Cliff, I just bought a new piece of equipment and I can't figure out which cable do I need to, for this. Can you tell me which cable I need? It's just like, And so I realized it's like, wait a second, just about anybody could do these things. And I really feel called to speak into people's lives and help them figure out answers to bigger, more complex, and more important issues of life. And so, do not miss at all. I do not miss at all being the Podcast Answer Man. I love being the Mindset Answer Man. Ruben says, always enjoy Mr. Cliff vlog. Thank you so much, Ruben. I really appreciate that. Lewis says, boom, go out and imperfectly create content. I make peace with that. I can only improve since I am not afraid of my imperfections. That's awesome. Exactly. Bill Harris says, an inch wide and a mile deep. That's exactly it. That's exactly my approach to this year. Jonathan says, any plans to write a book on any subject matter at all? No plans to write a book right now. I eventually imagine that I'll get to the place where it just doesn't make sense to not have a book. And while things right now financially are better than they have ever been before, and that's not to say I'm making more money now than I've ever made. It's just that it's hard to top the year that I made the decision to build our dream house and then had to come up with an extra $62,000 out of nowhere to do it. And then all of a sudden I overcompensated and ended up making a whole lot more than that. But so, by the way, we'll get into some of my beliefs about money. I always have plenty of money for everything I truly want. And so unfortunately, I've just not truly wanted anything that needs that much money again yet. But with that being said, one of the things that'd be nice is when eventually I've got all of the other things financially covered that I want to do, many things that I've been putting off, I'm finally addressing today. But when I have so much financial margin that I can just say, listen, here's $25,000. I want to speak into audio what my book is, and I need you to turn that into cohesive, clear, written words. Give it to me. And if you haven't put it into my voice, I want to ask you to make adjustments, and then we'll work through this process back and forth and then send it off to somebody. And that's how I would create a book. I don't see myself ever sitting down at a keyboard and writing a book myself. It's just my desire. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's negative 2,000. So yeah, that's how much I enjoy writing stuff at a keyboard. But I will tell you, I'm currently doing a series of audio podcasts on Audio Journal called Cliff's Notes on Think and Grow Rich. It's my thoughts on the philosophy of success by Napoleon Hill. I've recorded 18 episodes on the first 4 chapters of this book. I am not reading the book to you, so it's not like I'm plagiarizing. I am quoting many sections of the book, but then giving tons of commentary on it. And so Audio Journal subscribers get that included in their Audio Journal subscription fee, which is $10 per month over on Patreon. If you're interested, go over to mindsetanswerman.com/audiojournal. And so the Audio Journal has all of these behind the scenes updates, but randomly I drop in Think and Grow Rich update number 1, update number 5, update number 7, and now I'm up to 18. And probably tomorrow I'll record Think and Grow Rich update number 19 on chapter 5 of the book. But what I plan to do is once I finish the deep dive through this book and share all of my thoughts in the series on the Audio Journal, I will then take all of those, let's just say it ends up being 30 episodes. within the vast number of episodes inside of the audio. I'll just pull out just those 30 episodes of the audio journal, and I'll package that as an audio product so that people can go and buy it. Let's just say for $100, it will be an educational mindset product on how to get whatever you want to get in life based upon the philosophy of success. Kind of Cliff's Notes on Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, $100 for that digital audio product. In essence, that would be my version of sharing knowledge and wisdom with the world. That's the preferred method that I would do it. But then what I could do is I could actually have somebody listen to those 30 episodes and turn them into 30 different chapters of a book one day. So I don't know. But no plans on me actually doing a physical book, but an audio product is forthcoming. Frank Lipsky says, my content usually consists of video tutorials. Do you recommend using the audio to create a podcast also, or do you recommend keeping them separate? You know what? I say if your content does not refer to anything seen on the screen, you could certainly do that. In fact, I would create it. Let's just say I had a course on I know that Frank Lipsky is a fire instructor trainer. So let's just say you had a course that was all about one specific type of training product for firefighter instructors. So if you had a course that was that, you could take the audio of those videos or some of those videos and simply create an evergreen series-based podcast. So let's just say there are 15, or let's say there's 25 videos in your course. What I would do is I would probably randomly, or I would pull out maybe 8 or 9 or 10 of those videos and fill in a lot of high-value stuff and put that out as an 8 to 10 podcast that will never get anything more than those 8 to 10 podcast episodes. And then I would put an introduction at the beginning of each episode so that they know what they're hearing is selected portions of a larger, broader course. And at the end of each episode, I would put a sales pitch for that full-blown course. And then you have an evergreen marketing platform for the online course sales. That's just an idea off the top of my head. Larry says, will you have a virtual Free the Dream? The answer to that question is no. I will not have a virtual Free the Dream. I will always do virtual live events via webinar and community live streams and all of that stuff, but I currently have no plans to bring Free the Dream, the conference, to a virtual event. That's when I think of Free the Dream, I think of something that you go to in person, connecting with other people around you. There's an energy that goes with that does not exist in a live event. Now, don't get me wrong. I like live events. I like live streams. Free the Dream will not be one of them. I may do other virtual events, but not Free the Dream. Let's see here. David says, what is your view of the work of the work that Seth Godin is doing with podcasting? He has a podcast workshop. I have not paid any attention to his podcast workshop, so I have no clue what Seth Godin is doing. I like Seth Godin. One of my favorite books he ever wrote was Tribes, and I was already living the message of that book when he wrote it, but boy, did it reinforce and affirm so much of what I was doing. Best book I think he's ever written is Tribes. I've checked out a couple of his other books. They're pretty decent. I'm not a massive Seth Godin fan. Nothing against him. It's just he doesn't resonate with me at the deepest level. So, but I know a ton of people who are truly impressed by his writing and are influenced by him on a daily basis. Yeah, I like Seth Godin. I think he's an incredibly intelligent person. I love the way that he thinks. It's just that his writing style just hasn't really resonated with me at the deepest level. I bought the Icarus Deception or whatever, never made it through it. I purchased This Is Marketing, made it. Oh, by the way, loved 100% of all that I heard from the audiobook of This Is Marketing, but about 22% of the way in it, I got distracted, did some other things, picked it up on another audiobook, and have had zero desire to go pick it back up. Not that I won't. I listened to it. It's good stuff. Great insights. just not my jam. It's not something that I'm not magnetically attracted to Seth Godin as an influencer for me personally. I admire him. I respect him. I think he's a great person in this community called the online entrepreneurial world. But I have no idea what he's doing in podcasting. I do know that he created the Akimba podcast. I listened to 7 or 8 episodes of the Akimba podcast, really enjoyed it, and I'm not subscribed to it today. And there's a whole lot more than 7 or 8 episodes. All right. So David says, what do you think of... Oh, did I just answer that? What do you think of said... Oh yeah. Okay. So this is what do you admire most about him? He's a good-looking bald guy. He thinks in an incredibly awesome way. I love that he thinks outside of the box. He helps people see things from a different perspective. I love that about him. I love that he tries new things. I love that he never waits for perfection. I love that he's willing to risk things that might not work. I admire all of those things. Are you and he philosophically aligned? I have no idea what his philosophy of life is other than what he talked about in Tribes, and I totally am on board 100% with what he wrote in Tribes. I don't know about much of anything that he's written about in any of his other books other than the little bit of this is marketing, and I don't know if I really got his philosophy of life overall. I can tell you right now, yeah, I don't know anymore. I can't say anything else without knowing more about Seth Godin, and I don't have a drawn attraction to go learn more. I think it's great that he has such an incredibly awesome following that absolutely is inspired by him, and so if you want to know the one thing I admire most about him is the fact that he's inspiring others to greatness and to do the things that they feel called to do in this world. That's what I admire most. Sean says, are you still doing the audio journal podcast? How is it different than your normal podcast? Okay, so the answer to that question is yes. The audio journal podcast has been going since November 2018. It is something that I have done and will continue to do a minimum of 1 episode per week. The audio journal podcast is really for people who really are true fans. That means that they just can't seem to get enough of the type of content that I'm creating in this world. They would love to hear all sorts of stories about what's going on in my personal and professional life. What are the things that I'm choosing to do with my time, effort, and energy? What kind of projects am I working on with my business? What actions am I going to take to make those projects a success? What things did I do that have failed miserably? What have I learned about those failures? How have those failures affected me financially? All that behind the scenes stuff. It's unbelievable how transparent and authentic, not inauthentic, how authentic I have been in the audio journal. The audio journal is an insight into my personal and professional life at the deepest level. It's not that I share everything that goes on in my life, but I share a whole lot more than most people would ever be comfortable sharing. And I do it to encourage and inspire others so that they can learn from what I'm learning. That's what the audio journal is. The audio journal differs from the Cliff Ravenscraft show in that it's all about me and what's going on in my life, whereas the Cliff Ravenscraft show, I've attempted to transition to where it's not just all about me and my life, but the Cliff Ravenscraft show is meant to be, and I'm working on trying to make sure that it's only this, but it's only informative, educational content. So I may actually include stories about my life, but only in support of a lesson that's supposed to be taught in the Cliff Ravenscraft show. The audio journal is not always about teaching lessons. Sometimes it's just, hey guys, this is me. This is what I'm doing today. This is something I decided to do about my to-do list, and it's not trying to influence anybody to do something that this works, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. The audio journal is just, hey, this is what's going on. Although lots of the audio journal episodes are very informative. The idea is that the audio journal, regardless if it's your first time ever listening to it, the ideal, if it were perfect, and again, remember, nothing is perfect, but if the Cliff Ravenscraft show were perfect, any episode you tune into, if it was your first time ever hearing of Cliff Ravenscraft, you'd never heard of me before. If it was every episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft show, if it was perfect, every episode would be impressive. You would love it. It's like, man, I want more of this. Whereas the audio journal, there's a lot of episodes, not all of them, but there are a lot of episodes that are just personal journal entries. It's like, hey, this is what's going on today. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I think I'm going to do different. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, by the way, I'm on the keto update. I'm keto journal. Hey, let me tell you what I've experienced now that I'm 3 weeks in on this keto diet. All of those kind of things. Those episodes, if they were in the Cliff Ravenscraft show and somebody tuned in it's like, I don't want to hear about this guy's experience 3 weeks into the ketogenic lifestyle. Who the heck is this guy? That would not make great Cliff Ravenscraft show content. So it's exclusively only for true fans who want that kind of content. But then, and now there's something more powerful about the audio journal, right? I just started with episode 168. I started with my first update with my thoughts on Think and Grow Rich. And originally I was just going to do one episode saying, hey guys, let me tell you about how insights are hitting at a deeper level than they ever have before. The previous 3 times I had experienced this book, this 4th time through, my mind is being blown. I can't believe, I think that I just wasn't ready for it at the time. And so I went on in episode 168 of the audio journal. I went on for an hour and 15 minutes thinking that, okay, I said everything that I'm going to say, and now I'm just going to go and in private, I'm going to do this continued deep dive through the book. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, but there's still so much more to share. And so I said, okay, Think and Grow Rich, update number 2. Think and Grow Rich, update number 4. And I kept going. And so I've got 18. Now there are audio journal episodes in between some of those Think and Grow Rich updates, and there will continue to be. But I will tell you that I am definitely going to do all of my thoughts on all of Think and Grow Rich. And so when I finish going through Think and Grow Rich, you will have an incredibly powerful educational piece of material. And I will turn that into a training audio product that people can purchase individually. Now, if you're an audio journal subscriber, you wouldn't need to go buy the product. You could just be a $10 a month audio journal subscriber, and you can listen to them all in the audio journal. But I plan to, after this, move on to the next book. Right now, my thinking is that I'll go into psycho-cybernetics next. So I'll do, let's say, 15, 20 episodes on Cliff's notes on psycho-cybernetics. But those will all be in the audio journal. And in between some of those updates will just be other random updates. So that's the audio journal. By the way, if that sounds interesting to you guys, it's over at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. All right, we're on Joe Taylor next after I take a drink of water here. Got 23 and a half minutes left. Joe says, hey, Cliff, do you plan on developing health and fitness-focused coaching programs? I don't think so. I don't. I work with people one-on-one in health and fitness, but not necessarily educating them on health and fitness, but more on helping them discern where they most want to be educated, whether or not what fitness program they want to be a part of, what doctor they want to seek for medical advice if that's needed for them, what diet, lifestyle, what eating habits do they want to pursue. I mean, I'm not going to teach, I'm not going to tell somebody you should really be on the keto diet. You should be vegan. You should be this. I'm not going to do any programs that do all of that stuff. I'm not going to do programs that teach people you need to do these kind of workouts and work out this amount, put this kind of effort. That's not who I am. However, individually, one-on-one, somebody says, Cliff, I want to get really serious about my health and fitness. Can we talk about this? I just had one of those calls today. My one-on-one client prior to this, we talked about what it was. And he came to me and says, Cliff, here's what I want. I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. One of the things that I've done in the past, I've tried lots of different diets over the years. I have tried keto. I was on it for a year, and I've learned that this was the one thing. I think if I go back, this is the one thing I want to do. But how do I do it more successfully? I know you've had a lot of advice. You'd had a lot of this. And so I sit there, we talked about, why did you go a year and then get off? And we got to, I believe, some of the reasons behind that. And then I steered him in a different direction. I said, before we go into diet, I want to talk to you about something. You talk about health and fitness. Now, we can certainly have you lose weight. The question is whether or not you feel like your desire is just to lose weight or to be healthy and fit. If it's healthy and fit, I would recommend a resource for you that will help you understand a little bit more about the biology of what's going on. And I think it's perfectly possible for you to not change your eating habits drastically and still have become healthy and fit through some regular physical activity. But all of this, I would recommend that you do your own research on, but I can tell you a book that radically transformed my life. And that's kind of how I would do that. It's one-on-one individual advice, and I'd give two different people different information, or insights, depending on where they are. I do not want to be a health and fitness coach, like for a coaching program. At least not right now. I can't imagine it. Who knows? Maybe at some point in the future. But I certainly, lots of my coaching clients, my mastermind members and my one-on-one clients, they often bring up their health and fitness pursuits because I help them not just with their business, but their life. I mean, relationships, everything. When I'm working with a client, I work with the whole person, and health and fitness is often a part of the coaching that we do, but not as a program that I've outlined. Here's what I want you to do. So I don't see that coming, Joe. Thanks for the question, though. Sean says, can you please talk about your latest equipment? What are you using to podcast and live stream? So my latest equipment is the Rodecaster Pro. You can find that at mindsetanswerman.com/RC Pro for Rodecaster Pro. That's mindsetanswerman.com/RC Pro. This one device has an audio mixer, has 4 microphone inputs. You can connect your phone and on computer. It does mix Midas to your computer. You can do Skype, and it records it all. It can record it as it's got a digital audio recorder built into it. It can record on a single stereo track, or it can record every track individually into a single file. It's amazing. So yeah, Rodecaster Pro. I'm using the Heil PR40 plugged into it. It's just going USB into my computer for audio. And then the video that I'm using right now, a video camera or video software that I'm using is Ecamm Live. I'm using Ecamm Live. It's a Mac program that allows me to live stream straight to Facebook or straight to YouTube, which I'm doing right now. And it's really cool because your comments pop up here and it allows me to overlay your questions just like I've done here. So yeah, that's what I'm using. As far as my camera, I have really expensive camera gear, but I'm just using what's called a Logitech Brio, B-R-I-O, Logitech Brio webcam. It's a 4K camera, but the software is only allowing me to, I don't have the Pro account. I have the standard account for lifetime, but you can broadcast 1080p, no problem at all. I mean, this is pretty good looking video if you ask me. So there you go. Let's see here. Jay says, where did you get the acapella jingles that play at the end of your podcast? Also, any thoughts about the Adobe Audition Creative Cloud update? So the audio jingles, I get all of my audio jingles from my friends Mike and Isabella Russell and the company that they created called Music Radio Creative. And if you go to mindsetanswerman.com/audio, again, mindsetanswerman.com/audio, you'll be taken to there via my affiliate link. Tell them Cliff Ravenscraft sent you. They'll hook you up with any of your pre-recorded jingles that you might want them to create for you. Also, any thoughts about Adobe Audition Creative Cloud update? No. I just use Adobe Audition and Photoshop, and sometimes it automatically updates. Sometimes I wait. I haven't noticed anything different. Adobe Audition looks the same to me. Photoshop looks like it has a new icon, but the 3 things I use in Photoshop look pretty much the same. But yeah, I don't notice anything else different, so no other thoughts beyond that. All right. Larry says, did anybody notice Siri activation? Yes, it's done it a couple times. Let's see here. I'm trying to get to the next question. Ben says, how's your health doing? You're killing the stair stepper again at the Planet Fitness question. Or are you killing the stair stepper again at Planet Fitness? Yes. So the very first day that the Planet Fitness gym opened up, I've been back, and I'm a daily abuser of the Stairmaster. I put it to its pace every single day that I get the chance to go in there, at least 6 days a week. And so I'm going to be going, I didn't go this morning, so I'm going to go this evening and get a good 45-minute Stairmaster workout in this evening. My health is absolutely amazing. I've never been more healthy than I am right now. I look and feel 10 years younger than I did when I started this journey on November 14th, 2014. I am absolutely committed to working out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. And I'm committed to eating food that is beneficial to maintaining the energy levels that I desire to have throughout each and every one of my days. All right. Larry says, Cliff, your Think and Grow Rich series has been fantastic. I read the book and got nothing out of it like your notes. Yep. Awesome. That was my intention. I got to tell you, I read the book three times in the past and got nothing compared to what I got a handful of tips that have been powerful. Even the handful that I got were tremendous in my life. But man, the stuff that I'm sharing with you now, mind blown. It's like, how did I not get this at this level? But I know the answer to that. It's all the other stuff that I've studied in between. So thank you so much. Let's see here. Is there any time left to talk about your affirmations? Yes, there are. We've got 15 minutes and 40 seconds left, and I'm almost to the end of the questions, and I'm going to transition over to those affirmations. Let's see here. After I answer these, Mike says, "Hey Cliff, what software are you using to live stream?" That is Ecamm Live, ECAMM Live. How's that webcam? Webcam? Impressive. Yep, it's a webcam. It's a 4K webcam made by Logitech called Brio. All right. Let's see here. And then I'm going to answer this as the last question, and we'll move over to the affirmations. How do you stay motivated, and what suggestions can you give me so I can stay motivated professionally and personally? Well, okay, how do you stay motivated? By the way, you never have a problem staying motivated. Sean, you're always motivated. So I want you to hear this very clearly. You have never experienced a problem with motivation in your life. So if you said, well, Cliff, you don't understand. I made a desire. I had a goal, a dream of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning and going straight to the gym. And I just I did it for 3 days, and then I just lost my motivation. No, you didn't. You just were motivated to stay in bed longer. See, there is no such thing as a lack of motivation. You're just motivated to stay in bed. You're just motivated to eat ice cream instead of avoiding ice cream. You're just motivated to eat 3 helpings of food instead of sticking with 1. You're just motivated to drinking, what it is that you don't want to drink, and instead of avoiding it. We're all motivated. So you're motivated. And by the way, this is personally, this is professionally, this is everything. You might say, well, I know I need to write my email to, my list of emails to market my product, but I just can't seem to do it. No, okay, maybe you can't seem to do it. That's because you are motivated to do a lot of other things above and beyond that. But you're motivated. You're motivated to avoid it like the plague. You're motivated to creatively come up with 50 other things you could occupy your time with other than those emails. You're motivated to avoid the pain that you are associated with getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're motivated to avoid the pain of skipping the ice cream. You're motivated against the pain, to avoid the pain of writing those emails you so desperately hate to write. See, you're motivated. Now, if you want to know the trick of motivation, how to actually shift it to work for you instead of against you, all you need is leverage. See, the motivating forces of the human behavior is pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure is what motivates us. Every single one of us, you, me, everyone else, we are all motivated to avoid pain and to seek pleasure. And if you want to get yourself to do something that you're having a difficult time getting yourself to do, you're going to have to start working on your beliefs, your mindset, and your what we call our neuro associations. So, for example, back in the I'm just going to talk about 2 classes of behavior. Class 2 behavior is something that is good for you, good for others, and serves the greater good, but you hate doing it. That's a class 2 behavior. A class 1 behavior is something that is good for you, good for others, and it serves the greater good. It's the same thing, except the only difference is a class 1 behavior is a behavior that you love or that you enjoy, that you look forward to. Now, if you want to be motivated to do something, I encourage you to do the work necessary, the mental strengthening that is necessary for you to create neuroassociations to turn your whatever activity it is to from a class 2 behavior to a class 1 behavior. So, for example, I told you on November 14th, 2014, I made a commitment. I'm going to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. Now, back then, when I thought about working out, I'm like, oh, man, if I go to the gym, there's going to be the pain of people judging me because I weigh almost 300 pounds. And it's like, what's this fat guy doing in here? Not to mention the fact that I work from home and everything here. I have to drive all the way to the gym. There's never a good parking lot. It's cold outside, and oh gosh, I'm going to be sweaty and just all this stuff. There's so much pain associated to going to the gym. I'm motivated to just sleep in and skip it this morning. So that's why I'm motivated to avoid all of the things that I think about instantly as soon as I think about going to the gym. All right. Now, if you want to turn it going to the gym to you have to shift. You can get leverage by shifting two things. Where's the pain and where's the pleasure for going to the gym? Let me tell you why I'm absolutely addicted to going to the gym. So when I think of the idea, you have to associate massive, immediate, unbearable pain to the idea of not going to the gym. If you want, you have to use the motivating force of pain to get you motivated to do something. So I'm going to say, okay, going to the gym is what I'm committed to doing. All right. Now, if I don't go to the gym, what's going to happen? Massive, immediate, unbearable pain. So first of all, I've made a commitment to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. Number one, when I first made that commitment, I made that commitment to my mentor and friend, Ken Davis, and I did not want to let him down. And so number one, if I made this commitment and then I don't live up to it, I lose some credibility and respect in his mind. I told myself that story and I felt it and I believe it. Not to mention the fact that I'm going to tell thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in my community that I'm going to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. Yes, some of them are going to say that that's obsessive. Some of them is going to say, Cliff, you shouldn't do that. Why don't you say 3 days a week or 4 days? And I'm going to say, no, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. And some of them are going to say, there's no way you could ever do that. You're just going to fail. Just wait and see. And I'm going to say, well, forget you. I'm never going to let you have that over me. I am going to do it. And so I'm going to tell the world, and I told the world that I'm going to do it. So if I don't go to the gym, those people out there who said I could never do it, I'm proving them right. And I'm not going to do that. Not to mention the fact that if I don't go to the gym and I don't live up to this commitment, all of those people who might be inspired, gosh, if Cliff can stick with this, so could I. And so it's like, man, I don't want to lose that inspiration that my fitness journey will be when I maintain my workout commitment of 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. The idea of not doing that is painful. When I go to the gym, I've learned, because I read the book Younger Next Year, what happens in my biology about the cytokine change after 20 minutes and how that improves and repairs and heals my body. It's like, man, the idea of not having that, I'm going to slowly die a painful death if I don't go to the gym and get that activity going on in my body on 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life. So for me, when I think about not going to the gym, there's more pain associated to not going to the gym. I'm not saying that, you know what? Guess what? I still have to drive to the gym. There's still hardly any parking spots close. There are many times when it's super hot and I've got to walk into the gym. Sometimes it's 10 degrees and I still, there's still pain associated. There's still sometimes I go in and I still have, flabby skin or whatever, and some people might, there's still some pain. But you know what? That pain is nothing in my mind compared to all of the associations of pain of not doing it. That's how you get it. And so you start by associating massive, immediate, unbearable pain to not doing the thing. And then you have to also associate massive, immediate pleasure to doing that thing right now. Man, if I do this right now, if I get up right now and go straight to the gym, I will have started my day off on my terms. I will have started off by giving myself the energy, the dopamine, the endorphins that I get. It's like, not only that, but on the way to the gym, while I'm driving, I can listen to some Tony Robbins material or an audio book that's going to help me grow personally and professionally. While I'm at the gym, I could listen to more personal growth, or I could watch an entertaining show on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or YouTube or whatever. There's all kinds of entertainment. And then on the way home, I can listen to more personal development. I'm growing. It's like there's so much. I can't imagine not going to the gym because there's so much pain that I avoid by doing it, and there's so much pleasure that I get. That's how I turned it from a class 2 to a class 1. I can help anyone do this for any class 2 behavior into a class 1, and that's why I get paid the amount of money that I do today. All right. So, yeah, there's that. And so Hoop says, how do you quit smoking? It would be the same way. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and move on into these not perfect slides that I created for my affirmation. So let me just pull this up here for you, and I'll briefly talk about them after I take one more drink of water. We got 6 minutes left, my friends. 6 minutes left. So here are affirmations. Affirmations are just thoughts. These are suggestions about something that is true. All right. And I get to choose consciously, what do I believe? And what I did is I created a list of suggestions that have been made. And then I get to choose, do I believe this? And if I believe this, then I create that as an affirmation. An affirmation is just a statement of something that I've chosen to believe, that I want to repeat to myself, and I want to feel, and I want to know is true, and I want to repeat it so much I'm going to auto-suggest it to myself, auto-suggestion, so that my subconscious mind it takes it as the operating code, so that when I wake up in the morning and I go throughout my day, my decisions, the way that I feel, the thoughts that are surfacing from my subconscious mind, the actions that I'm prompted to do, my connection with God, it's all based upon the operating code of these beliefs. Now, I'm going to share with you 10 of those here real quickly. First one, I am always at the right place at the right time doing the right thing. I absolutely believe this is true all of the time, and it's what's allowed me to live a more present life. So if I'm at my in-laws with my family when I'd rather be doing something else, listen, I'm at the right place with the right people doing the right thing right now. So it's just wherever I'm at, there I am. Not just physically, but also mentally. I want to be here. I want to be present in the moment. All right. Every circumstance provides an opportunity to learn and grow. When I grow, I have more to offer others. And by the way, when I say every circumstance, I intentionally immediately say every circumstance. I underscore every. Good circumstances, bad, painful, negative, positive, it doesn't matter. All circumstances, good or bad, provides an opportunity for me to learn and grow. My successes, my failures, doesn't matter. I'm always growing. It's always improving. As a result of that, I always have more to offer of service to others. I always have as much money as I'm committed to earning. You see this? I talk with people occasionally. I'll say, hey, what do you most want to do in life? And then how much would you if you were to live your dream life, let's just say 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if you were to live your dream life 5 years from now, how much money would you need to be making on an annual basis? And let's just say somebody says, I'd need $80,000 a year to live my dream life. Well, how much are you making right now? Oh, I'm making $22,000 a year. Huh. Well, why don't you go get a job for, and let's say that you make it a goal that this, next year you made $22,000 last year. How about you make a goal that you make, I don't know, $35,000 this year, $57,000 the next year, and then you move up to $80,000 the year after that. And by the way, if I can get them into that plan, and if I can get them to think that that's even possible, it's like, okay, so you see that. How about you just go from 22,000 to 80,000? Why not just do that right now? Well, I can't. The thing is you're always going to be able to generate the amount of money that you have committed to earning. It is always true, always has been, and I encourage you, if you don't believe that, you should listen to Cliff's notes on Think and Grow Rich in the audio journal, starting with episode 168 at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. Trust me, it's true. The people who attain a certain level of success in life, somebody who is a millionaire, can lose it all, and within 18 to 24 months, they're a millionaire again. It's just how it is, because they know what's possible. They've done it once, they can do it again. It's instantly. In fact, what I can tell you is that you look at your income right now and then unless you're consistently personally and professionally growing, like at the highest level, and you're always pushing the envelope of what's next. For majority of people, most people, if you look at your W-2 statement, your tax return not your W-2, well, yeah, your W-2, look at your W-2, your total income for the year. Chances are you're pretty close to what you've been making for the last 3 to 5 years. But there's no reason other than what you're committed to doing in return for what it is that you want. But if you had, here's what I know. Dave Ramsey said this, and we're going to run just a few minutes over. Dave Ramsey said this when he talked to people about doing baby step number 1, which is creating $1,000 emergency fund. Some people say, where am I going to come up? You don't understand. I just can barely put gas in the gas tank. How am I going to come up with $1,000 emergency fund? And he said this from the stage. He goes, do you have a child? And the lady said, yes. If your child needed an emergency surgery and you had to pay $1,000 cash before they do the surgery, how long would it take you to come up with $1,000? She goes, I could probably have it within hours. Bingo. All right. Working out relieves stress and tension. The more I move, the more relief I feel. And that is absolutely true. Today is filled with opportunity. Everywhere I look, I see it. I trust my intuition to follow where it leads. You see, this is completely counterintuitive to all those people who are so afraid of the white, shiny object syndrome, as if it's some sort of disease. I call it curiosity. I'm an extremely curious person. And today I'm going to be faced with so many opportunities. And everywhere I look, I'm going to see opportunities. And I'm going to trust my intuition to follow where my intuition leads. Sometimes it may be going down a rabbit hole of a distraction that's going to be incredibly beneficial to me because I'm going to learn from that experience of going down that rabbit hole. Sometimes my intuition is going to say, nope, ignore that. That's a distraction. That's not the one thing you should be focused on right now. You need to go over here because there's too much pain associated to not doing that project that you're already committed to. Today is filled with opportunity. Everywhere I look, I see opportunity. I trust my intuition. I trust the Spirit of God to inspire me in the direction I should go, is basically how I interpret that. Here's the next one. In any moment in time, my reality is based upon whatever I'm focused on. Now, that might be a mind bender for some people, but your reality right now, chances are, is Cliff Ravenscraft is here talking and sharing his affirmations with you. Well, I want to tell you right now, there's a lot of other realities that are potential possibility for you. For example, outside of your house or place of work or wherever you might be, there might be a thunderstorm that's happening, but you were not thinking about that thunderstorm until I just now talked to you, unless you heard the lightning and then all of a sudden you were focused on the fact that you just heard lightning, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, part of my reality now includes a thunderstorm. But if there's all kinds of stuff. It's like there might be the ice cream truck might be coming down the street and you don't hear it, but that reality doesn't exist to you until you begin to focus on it. It gets pretty crazy, and there's some implications to it. But here's what I want to tell you: you can change your reality by changing your focus. There's so much more that goes to that. By the way, here's what I love about this is what I think about money and what my position with money is right now. This is not a direct quote of 1 Timothy 6:17 through 18, but you can go look up 1 Timothy 6:17 through 18 and see what the Bible actually says. But this is my version of it when I write it in a statement in my own words. I am a wealthy or rich person in this present world. I'm an extremely wealthy person. In fact, I believe every single one of you are rich and wealthy as well. And I am talking financially. If you're watching this, you're rich and wealthy. I don't care if you're tens of thousands of dollars in debt and all this other stuff. But man, you're rich and wealthy if you have electricity in your home, running water, air-conditioned air, whether that's heated or air-conditioned, like cold. If you have lights, you have a computer, you have a phone, whatever, you're an extremely wealthy person. Now, I have all of those things and then some because I desired them and went after them and created plans to get them. And so I'm an extremely wealthy person in this present world. However, I will not allow this to make me an arrogant person. I will not put my hope in my financial wealth, which can be so uncertain. Now, not saying that it is uncertain. It just says it can be uncertain. And some people who ride in the stock markets have seen just how uncertain sometimes that can be. Anyway, instead, I will place my hope in God, the creator of all things, the source of everything, who richly provides me with everything for my enjoyment. It's in the Bible. God is where I place my hope, and God is richly providing me everything for my enjoyment. I will be rich in good deeds. I will be generous, and I am willing to share. So there you go. That's one of my affirmations. Here's one from Deuteronomy 8:17 through 18. Again, you can go read Deuteronomy 8:17 through 18, but this is my affirmation re-paraphrased version for myself. I am financially wealthy. However, it is not my power or my strength that produced this wealth for me. It is God who has gifted me with the ability to produce wealth. Now, you got to understand, God has given me the ability, and by the way, he's given it to you as well. But God has given me the ability to create, to produce, to make wealth. And that's why I have it. All right. Anyway, no one else can bring negativity into my life through their thoughts unless I allow the quality of my thoughts to drop down to the level of their negative way of thinking. How about that one? And the final one that I'll share with you here is commitment means staying loyal to what I said I was going to do long after the mood that I said it in had passed. My friends, I have well over 100 of these types of affirmations in my affirmation file. I don't, unfortunately, right now, I'm not currently going through all of those 15, 20 minutes a day, but I did do about an hour a day of those affirmations every day for like 9 months straight. All of those are committed to my memory. All of those are the operating system by which I operate my life. This is how I got to the place where I am today. And I encourage you to be intentional about your dominating thoughts. When somebody says something, understand that that is a suggestion. It is a thought that is being suggested for your acceptance as your operating system in life. I would encourage you to start rejecting a lot more of that consciously and being very intentional about what you choose to believe. And with that, my friends, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to this live stream. And until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level. Bye-bye. Mindset, answer man.